Hi, everyone. On behalf of the SCUTA family, we would love to welcome you to Data-Driven Social and Emotional Learning with SCUTA.
Hi, I'm Steve Zaharakis, the CEO of Z-Labs, and I'm very excited about our session where we will be showing you a hands-on approach to using SEL in a data-driven school counseling program using SCUTA.
Hi, and I'm Diana Virgil. I'm your co-presenter today, and I'm a professional school counselor in Alabama. I'm also an ASCA certified school counselor, and also I've had rank recognition in the 2016 and 2019 school year. So let's get started with those objectives for today. One of the biggest things we want you to know is that we really want to show just the basis of SEL. This whole conference is based on SEL, so we know you understand SEL. One of the things we want to show you, though, is how you can identify different things, look at your data, and how you blend that with SEL to get results that you can analyze and give the stakeholders, and also make very good decisions for your school counseling programs and for to advocate for yourself.
So in this session, we're going to be more hands-on. We're going to go through ways that you could document events, priorities, goals, lesson plans, and surveys for your pre and post testing.
One of the biggest things we want to look at first is SEL. What is it? So the biggest thing is social and emotional learning, which is SEL. It's the process of where you're looking at self-development, awareness, control. And the thing about it is that these tools are necessary in the work, in the school, and in your everyday life. SEL helps individuals with different things. Once again, self-management, managing your emotions. You have all the emojis that come up all the time. And sometimes you have the red face that's angry, or you have like the smiling emoji, the crying emoji. But one of the biggest things is we want to make sure you know how to manage those emotions to achieve your goals. Self-awareness, recognizing one's emotions and values and strengths and challenges. It's so important that you are aware of your emotions. You know when you're having those emotions, you know how to deal with those emotions. Social awareness, understanding other people's emotions, because sometimes some people cannot read clues from other people when they're sad or upset. Relationship skills, forming positive relationships, working in teams, effectively with conflict. It's so important to be able to have good relationship skills, because whether you're talking about with your partner, whether you're talking about with another student, or you're talking about with your boss, it's so important that you have positive relationship skills and you know how to handle conflict in a positive manner. For today's purpose, we're going to be looking at responsible decision making, which is going to tie right on into what we're about to explore. One of the biggest things that's going on in my school is that we have ninth graders that are constantly fighting. And with them constantly fighting, there's always something going on. And one of the things is that we noticed from 12:30 to 2 o'clock that we're always having the peak in fights. We just realized those referrals were coming during that time frame. And most of the time it's because of bullying, harassment, or simple conflict resolution that the students were not able to handle. And it's occurring in the classroom. One of the biggest things that goes on at 12:30 is right after lunch. So it could have involved or started in the lunchroom, but it happens in the classroom, the actual fighting. So those are things we're going to dig into to learn more about how we can actually implement an SEL lesson with that. So how did I find this data? How I found this out anyway? One of the biggest things is I have all different kind of things I look at. I look at needs assessment, what the students are saying, counseling topics, but the big one to pinpoint this particular lesson was school discipline report. Looking and seeing what our referrals were, what our discipline referrals were coming from last year and this year was very important. Also, with the implementation, looking at classroom lessons for ninth grade using built-in SCUTA lessons, I definitely realized that my ninth graders were having issues and I needed to find a lesson that would be able to help them pinpoint what they need to work on. And so that's where I come in as far as doing a tier 1 observation to make sure that I can actually come in and build and help them find those conflict resolution, bullying, and harassment things. We use pre and post tests used in SCUTA surveys, which was very helpful because I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. And most of these are evidence-based, research-based, or they can be best practice or actively using. And so it's so important that you understand this, that you can actually find a lesson to help you when you have to do stuff quickly. Once it was reported, it's making sure that you email the results to your stakeholders, that they understand what's going on, show them the pre and post data from your lesson, and also document long-term on what you can actually use this for. I think it's no point in doing lessons if you don't have data to back up what you're trying to do. So when you're talking to your advisory counselor, your school board members, or you're even trying to advocate and say, this is why we need more school counselors. This is something that will help you, especially with that pre and post data, to show how you are such a valuable team player to the whole work environment and helping what is needed, in my case, which would be a discipline referrals. So we're going to get right on into it. One of the biggest things I want to show you is that in 2020 and 2021 school year at my high school, we had 93 ninth graders. Out of those 93 ninth graders, it was 162 referrals for fighting. That's a lot. And that's a lot of fighting. So as you can see, this just shows you like the kind of time frames and stuff. As we were talking about, once you see that 12 o'clock mark, you start seeing more numbers go up. And it's so important that we realize that we needed to have an intervention during that time frame. We're going to look at a data point. There's a significant number of fights and office referrals in ninth grade during the 2020-2021 school year. You got to have a data point in order to be able to efficiently get everything out and know what you're looking for. So by having this data point built right in the SCUTA, I was able to implement this, go in and say, this is my baseline. This is what I'm trying to target. So I can go right on into trying to work towards my SMART goal. For the 21-22 school year, our goal is that we want to have 81 referrals or less. So we have 91 ninth graders this year, and we want to target having a 50% change. Now, I do want you to know that we had a decrease in students, which was by 2%. But our biggest thing is we want those referrals down. So we want to make sure we have interventions in place to help throughout that process. So we did a SMART goal. And the good thing about this is that sometimes you're sitting down like, how do I write my SMART goal? Am I writing this right? Am I missing something? Well, I wrote my SMART goal in SCUTA, which really helped a lot because therefore it writes it for you. Now, my SMART goal is by the 7th of June, 2022, ninth grade students with 2 or more fighting referrals will decrease their fighting at school by 50% from 162 to 81. So therefore, that is what I'm targeting. And as you can see, you instantly just put your dates in, put what your target group is. It'll show you your increase or decrease depending on what your baseline is and what you're trying to go to. And this really helps you to formulate, especially if you're a new counselor or even if you're a veteran counselor and your SMART goals aren't really your thing. This really helps you pinpoint that.
So what we've done is right now with Diana, we covered briefly the data summary and the outcome goals. Now that's a pretty big topic. We're now going to look at the surveys and the lesson plans. And the reason, again, we're looking at this is because the lesson plans is the way that we convey knowledge, and they're really based on the mindsets and the behaviors. So we're looking at solving one of the priorities. We're looking at solving the needs. So really educating the students or showing them, introducing them to concepts that will allow them to improve themselves, their mindsets and their behaviors. And the surveys are really what we use so that we can actually measure something. So it's the pre and the post. And all of this will be done on the calendar. And that's here on the SCUTA calendar.
So one of my favorite things about the calendar is that it documents everything. It's the heart. I call it, well, I'm a biology major. So one of the biggest things is the nucleus. And one of the things I know about the nucleus is that it helps everything to run. And that's what this calendar is. It helps everything in school to run. And one of the things is that when you put it on here, it helps to spit out those reports. The biggest thing about SCUTA is documenting the time. You document the time and show what you're doing. It helps you to get those great reports that you need in order to be able to show your stakeholders and everyone what's going on and how to analyze those results to advocate for your school counseling program. And I think it's so fantastic because you can go on here and you can actually, we're going to show this in the live part also, but you can show how you can actually schedule your lessons. So therefore you can have it already on your calendar. It's already blocked off. People can't get in there. And also more things as far as showing like when I'm not doing lessons, this is the planning I'm doing for my lessons. So I think all of that really helps a lot when you're looking at SCUTA and how it's integrated with everything in the program.
Yeah, what's great is, I mean, what we've done is we've optimized each one of these processes. So each one of the events that we have there have specific inputs, and it's based on over 10 million events that have been documented in SCUTA. So we'll get into that a little bit further. Now we're going to be talking a little bit, we're going to go into the live version of SCUTA, and we'll show you the hands-on approach on documenting all these things and getting the results. Prior to that, we're just going to go through the SCUTA data-driven, the flow chart, really how things work. And really the concepts that we have are really, it's clear. we're looking at the data. And by data, we mean the school data and the student data. And we're also looking at the students and their needs and incorporating all of these. These then allow us to define our goals. And our goals then, we look at the mindsets and the behaviors to identify those mindsets and behaviors that will allow us to accomplish those goals. We then select the lesson plans. And the lesson plans, again, are really focused on the mindsets and behaviors. And now, in order to find out the effectiveness of the lesson plan, we will do the pre and the post testing. And this is where our surveys come into play. Now, when we do the pre and post testing, we might see things that might need to, we close the loop really so we can improve the lesson plans. So we can emphasize things that work and eliminate things that don't work. And finally, as Diana had said before, we share our results with the stakeholders. So let's get into the application. Basically, all you'd have to do is to go to myscuta.com, and we're going to do a try for free. So here, all you need to do is to enter your email address and then specify who you are. We've got different versions of SCUTA for school counselors, for directors and coordinators, and those people that are managing school counseling programs. We've got a different program for the graduate students, so they can do their practicums and their internships and share their timesheets. And we have a different version of the application for the university faculty, so the professors, so that they could actually use a hands-on tool instead of Excel to illustrate school counseling concepts. So now that you've specified that, we're asking you for your information, your name, your zip code, your school's zip code actually, and the password. After you've done that, we have a welcome screen. And here we're showing you your username, and we email you your password. And then we just ask you 2 questions. Here, if you were to do that, it'd be great for you to enter ask at home so we know where you're coming from. And at this point, let's just log into the application. Okay, so here's our dashboard. And so it's a brand new account, so there's nothing in here. So you can see now I just added, there's Lucy, and we have like, I just entered their dates, the start and the end date for the school year. So if we go here to school, you'll see that we've got beliefs. And under the beliefs, we have the belief statements. So you can look at all the belief statements here. You can specify those, the vision. And by default, since I had Pennsylvania entered, it shows you the state of Pennsylvania here. And it's a hyperlink. If I were to click on that, it'll show you where that's coming from. Pennsylvania from here. And similarly with the mission statement here, this is where you have the mission, and you would edit it here by entering information. And here we have surveys. So in the surveys, we've got, you can create a new survey, or you could use a shared survey. So when you create a survey, you can have it so that it's private, shared within the school district, or shared with everyone. We're going to go to shared. And in this case, we're going to look for something for conflict or bullying. And we'll just pick this one, which is conflict and harassment survey. So if I click on this, it has a hyperlink. So when I click on it, it takes us to this site. And if I wanted to look at this a little bit more, notice here, it's got the shared icon, this discipline. I click here on the PDF, and here we have our survey. So the survey, we have the Likert scale. So we could specify the Likert scale, and here are our statements, and they have the pre and post values, and they're all zeros right now, and there's a question. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this. So click here, duplicate, and now it's going to create a duplicate for me. And it's copied, and now it's here. So I could edit this, and I'm just going to remove the duplicate and just say my for the name here. And I'm going to keep it private, so I'm not sharing with anybody else. And here we've got descriptions, directions. Here's the Likert scale, and we can change the Likert scale. You can edit it. So you can change the Likert scale from 5. Let's say we wanted to go to 4. You see how it's changing, or 3, and you could pick any one of these different predefined types. But just for this example, I'll just leave it at 5 and keep it where it's at and hit save. Here are the statements, and it's a Likert scale of 5. So these are the values here. And I'm just going to keep it simpler. I'll just delete some of these so that we don't have that many. I'll keep it to like 4 questions just for simplicity. And I'm just randomly picking which ones. So the survey is created, and I could just save it so that we have it. And next, we could look at the data summary. So we said in the data summary, what we wanted to do is we wanted to create a priority. So we could come here and we could do an edit, and we could look at the values here, and we could specify that this is for discipline, what's working, achievement and attendance seem to be working, and discipline is something that we need to be working on. And my school does have an improvement plan, and so on and so on. I could specify all of this. We'll hit save. And we can go and edit the priority. So let's create the priority now. We'll go to new, and here we'll specify. So there we have this. And we can specify how we will be addressing it. And here the discipline has already been defined. And we're getting the referrals and the target. I'm just going to create a 9th grade with 2 or more.
Yes, with 2 or more referrals. Let's look at those students.
Or more fighting
Referrals.
Okay. And we just created that on the fly. And our base number was how many incidents of that do we have? We've got
162.
162. And the date of that was?
That was from 5/26/2021.
Right, 5/26/21. And we'll just hit save. So we just created this priority data point. Next, we're going to go to the outcome goals. And on the outcome goals, I'll create a new outcome goal. And here, by default, since we only have one that picked this, so notice that all these values are being brought in from the prioritized school data point that we created earlier. And I'm going to pick 81. So here now we just specified the start date. Okay, by this date, this is the end of our school year, that we're going to have 9th grade students with 2 or more fighting referrals. We'll decrease their fighting referrals by 50% from 162, which was measured on 5/25, to 81. So let's save this. So we saved it. And now let's go to lessons. And in lessons, again, similarly, we can create a new lesson, or we could use something that's already there. So we'll come here, and any ideas here, Diana? So
Would actually use conflict.
Okay, so we've got a whole bunch. We've got some conflict. Let's just pick. I mean, I can see there's only one here, but let's just pick it for 9th grade, and it'll show us this. And we could have also done like social emotional. So these are all filters, so it'll just filter it out. So let's look at this one. So we click here, and we could see the PDF.
And that's the cool thing about it. You can actually review lessons before you actually use them. So to see if it has all the material that you're needing.
Right, and here you can see how it is. There's the first page, the second page, the third page. So it's got all the details and the latest SCUTA template. Okay, so on the lesson here, and this also has a link. So if I click on the link.
So how do I know if
it
it's
goes
really
through
bullying?
something about, okay. And here now, so we just created, so we'll accept this. So now I'm going to copy this. So there's a duplicate, and we'll hit OK. And we're going to come to my, and I'm going to edit this, and I'm just going to rename it. I'm going to say my.
And one of the biggest things I want to point out for here is that when you're on this page of editing, you can edit this to whatever you need for your school. So you don't have to keep everything that person has. You can edit it just for you. And that's the cool part about it, because you can kind of see everything, see what they have, so forth and so on.
Right, and here we've got survey by default, and since we only have one survey, we could pick that. And now all we're going to do is we're just going to save this. And I mean, we're not going to worry about, we've got the annual administrative conference here, we've got the advisory council, and then we got students. So let's go into the calendar now. When we're in the calendar, and the calendar, as Diana said, is the heart of the application. Notice the grayed out area are before school hours. We have the white area here, and then now the grayed out area here are after school hours. The cool thing about that is we could do all kinds of different types of analysis. So what I'll do is I'll create our first event, and all that I need to do is, let's say that it starts from 7:30 and it goes until 8:30, a 1 hour event. I'm going to click, drag, and release. So that's how it sizes it. And here are all our categories. And if you're not sure about one of the categories, you can hover over it and it's got a description. So we'll pick instruction. And notice it's an intelligent input panel in that as I pick different items, there's different attributes that appear and hide. So I'll just move this to the side so we can see it easier. I'll just pick the first one and now I'll hit save. So we just created this event. And there's a whole bunch of features in SCUTA. We're not going to be able to cover everything like confidentiality here. And you can come here and you can resize the event. You can make it larger. You could make it smaller. You could click on it to edit it, or you could drag it around, move it wherever you would like. And now I'll create another event, let's say for another hour event. This time I'm going to pick the second category. Again, different options here, and it's all based on what you pick. So we'll just keep save here. We'll do a save and new. So now what that did is it created the event, and now we've got a new event being specified, and it uses the previous amount of time. So if the previous thing was 1 hour, it's guessing for the next one. It's going to say, all right, the next one, we'll pick the next one to be an hour. And you see we've got counseling, and again, different options. So if you pick an individual versus if you're just doing a behavior plan, and so on and so on. I'm just going to hit save and new. And now we're going to go into referrals, save and new. And we're going to go into defining, save and new. And we're going to go into fair share responsibilities, save and new. And I'm just going to do non-school counseling task here and keep it at save. So we just created these events. And I can come and create another event here. And let's say that this time it's going to be counseling, because that's really what we're talking about this time. So counseling, and we'll go into counseling group. And we've got the referral source, and let's say that it was counselor initiated, and the focus, we could say that it's bully prevention. And as far as the lesson goes, we already have a lesson, so we could pick the one that we just created, the My. And notice here it understands that it has a survey. So we could have a survey. And since we created the student group, we could pick the student group here or add something else. And we could make it a repeat event here. Let's just say that we could go weekly, every 2 weeks. Just for simplicity, we're just going to go daily. And again, here we could go how many times, and it gives us the option until the end of the school year. Just to keep it on the one calendar, I'll just say until Friday, so we see it all here on this one screen. Our confidential notes are here, and I'll just hit save. And it created all of these events. And notice that they have a little placeholder here, which shows us it's a lesson. So I could pick a different lesson each time. I could modify the focus. So for example, here I could say that the referral this time was administrator, and it wasn't bully prevention, it was anger management. And I'll get rid of the lesson this time, and I'll hit save. And we'll just save this one. And on this one, what we'll do is, let's say it was, the referral this time was teacher. And this was coping skills. And I'm going to remove that one again. And I'll just say my coping.
And as you see, as he's typing, it says new lesson. So he's actually creating a new lesson as he's typing it right into the source, and that he can go back and edit later.
And again, I could also do my pre and my post here without having to worry about anything else. I could just put the numbers in by raising a hand. So what's cool here now is let's just look at one of these. So we've got this, and we've got a pre and post. So what you can do, imagine now you don't really need to do, everything's kind of built in and integrated. This is what we're talking about. So if you're in the classroom, you can click here on this icon. And what we're showing now is here you have a QR code. So you could take your phone, and you guys could do it, and click on it. And now it's going to take you to this page. And I'll show you here so everyone can see. So on this page, and here is the survey that we put together. And just for simplicity, I'll put ones on everything for the first one, and I'll just hit save. and I'm moving us around, Diana. Okay, and it was added. Okay, and I'll go back here, and now I'll do a post also. And let me do the QR code first so everyone could do the post with us. So here, I mean, all you got to do is click on it and it'll take you to this page. And this time, let's say that we went from 1 to 4, just to make it interesting and straightforward. And we'll just hit submit. And now we've created, so basically we only did this one. So we did our surveys. So when they click on that to edit, now it shows us the values. So there's a value of 1 and a value of 4. So pre and post. So there's a 300% change. So that was very effective. So I'm just going to do this one more time just to put a little random thing in here on the pre. And again, I'll do it with a QR code. So for anyone that didn't have the opportunity to do it before, maybe you want to do it now. So just go onto your phone and click, and you're going to have the survey. It's going to open up, and I'm just going to random. I'm going to pick 2 and 1 and 2 and 1, and I'll just submit it.
And for those of you that do not have like the survey, as far as your kids don't have one-to-one in the school, it's also, you can put this in like a Google Classroom and put the link out before you go into the classroom and have them do the survey. And then once you leave the class, you can have the teacher, because for instance, we only have Chromebooks in our English classes. So what I usually do is have, every kid has to go through English. So what I usually do is have them all to go in the English class and put it in the process in there afterwards by the link. And by doing that, they're able to actually go in and do the survey afterwards. So those are just different ways that you can do that as well. So that way you can document. It all depends on, you know, having to adjust to your school environment based off of technology needs in today's world.
So again, we only did this one event. And thanks for that, Diana. And what I just did is I just added another thing. So we've got 2 on each one of them, and you see how it calculates it. If you want to get even better view of this, you go to reports and you go right to survey. And in survey here, here's the bullying and harassment part, and we'll pick the date. I think it was this one. And now you can see our data and our results. So all this kind of happened automatically for us. So we didn't really have to do anything. The cool thing is we want to keep everything centralized. So you don't have to go to SurveyMonkey or do anything like that. Everything is stored inside SCUTA. It's all linked together. We give you insights into how it's working, and we gain insights from your feedback as to how to improve things. So
I'm sorry, see, but another thing I also love about this is because you can do it in a PDF, but also if you uncheck cluster bar graph, you can actually show it in a different format so that you can see your data in 2 different ways. I love this one. I like the bar graph too. I think both of them are really cool, but I really love this one because I like how the color differentiates and it shows me that strongly agree, disagree and stuff. So I think that you can see it in different viewpoints and you can have those data points. So when you're talking about it with stakeholders, you're trying to show them what's going on. This helps, especially when working with administrators or your school board. Numbers are important, but when you show them this and you show them I'm trying to help, for instance, like in Georgia, we had CCRPI scores. When you show them that I'm contributing to helping decrease discipline referrals, it really helps with that advocacy tool piece. And by having everything in one place, you don't lose it. Because I know sometimes I go looking for surveys and I'm like, where did I put it? But when I started using SCUTA surveys, it was a lot easier to just go look at the survey from one area versus trying to look in different folders and different drives.
So thanks, Diana. And really what we're really looking at is here, it's a simple way. I mean, if we really think about the process of what we went through here, it's all organized. You go to the school menu and we would identify the survey. We did our data summary and we set an outcome goal. We created a lesson plan, and we duplicated them. We used the surveys then in the lesson plan, and that's pretty much it. Or we could have just gone right to surveys and to the lesson plan. And then here on the calendar, everything's kind of integrated so that you document your events here and everything else happens automatically. And there's a lot more power here in SCUTA, but I can't, we don't have the time to really go through everything. So for example, here, we just changed this. So this is reflecting the data that we put in and little details about the power of SCUTA. So let's say that you want to look at the non-school counseling. I could strip away layers and just focus on one layer or just specify the layer that I'm interested in. And here you've got your user time analysis, and this is great. And we show you your percent time, your hours, and your frequency. What's cooler, though, I think, is the trailing 12-month, because this shows you how things change on a monthly basis. And here, all of these are reports. All these reports are one-click reports. All you've got to do is click once, and you're in the report. And now you can specify what you're looking for. This is for oral hours. This is for school hours. Notice that it's different. And here we've got the Pareto analysis. And we're showing now the details about how each one of these events is divided up. Then we can have the monthly user time analysis, and so on and so on. So back to the calendar. The calendar, again, SCUTA will work on any device that has a browser, on your cell phone, on the iPad, on any type of tablet.
And one big thing about the calendar, if you look in the right-hand corner, right next to the word logout, it's an arrow that kind of points to the left. It shows you where you are currently. So when you're looking at your current use of time analysis, this is something that is really cool. As you're putting stuff on your calendar, you can honestly see it start changing and everything. And I think that's a really neat tool to just, if you want to just kind of look really quickly without going to the reports thing, just to see your current use of time analysis, it really helps to just get a quick snapshot really quickly.
So let's wrap it up, Diana. What we wanted to be able to show you is a tool that will empower you, a tool that will make your life simpler, a tool that will allow you to use everything that you've learned at the at-home conference here at ASCA, and a hands-on approach on how you might utilize something like that.
So as I said before, one of the biggest things is that the calendar is like the nucleus of the whole system. As you saw, that you can put pretty much everything in one place. That's the really great thing about SCUTA, is that everything is integrated into one area for you to be able to keep and be able to quickly get your hands on. For me personally, this tool has been ever changing. It's helped me to advocate for non-school counseling tasks. It's helped me to keep my lessons organized. It's helped me to keep a lot of stuff in check, but also like it has so many different features, such as like the appointment feature, which is one of my favorite things. And it always puts stuff on my calendar. And by doing that, whenever someone come and asks me to do something that's normally not in my scope, and I say, oh, let me check my calendar to make sure I don't have anything scheduled. Then they see, oh, you got my principal calls it rainbow colors, because he sees all different kind of colors. He's like, oh no, you got this going on and this or whatever. Because I'm like a planner sometimes, so I like to plan stuff out, as you can see, like we did on the lessons. This really helps so people know that, hey, I'm busy, I'm doing counseling tasks. So the more they see you doing stuff and your time being set up, and they're not seeing that you're not free a lot of the time, they're like, oh, well, I can't get them to do this extra task because they're already full. So this is just really just a great tool to be able to use and implement in your program, and be able to advocate not only for yourself, but for your students as well.
And also picking up on the calendar again, it also integrates with Google Calendar and with Outlook.
So one of the biggest things I want you all to know is to click the link on the session page to continue live with Q&As with us. Also, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to Steve or myself. One of the biggest things is that we have over 140 ambassadors that are located in various states within the United States. Also, we are having ambassadors in over 67 countries. So therefore, that's a lot of countries we got going on. SCUTA is a worldwide thing. So one of the biggest things we want you to know is that anytime you have a question for your particular state, you can easily go find one of your ambassadors on that state. And for you, for instance, I see Georgia, I see Hawaii, I see Pennsylvania, I see Texas. You can easily find an ambassador for your state to help you with different things in your state. For instance, in Texas, they have a Texas state model. Well, I'm an ambassador for Alabama, so obviously I'm not familiar with the Texas state model in its entirety. Talking with another state Texas ambassador, you're able to actually get more input in your state. Also, they may be available to help with trainings and stuff. As always, once again, if you have any questions, please click on the link to go to our session page to continue the live Q&A.
So if you want to talk to Diana and I right after this, just click on that link and we'll be there waiting for you. So thank you for your time, and hopefully we'll be able to talk to you soon.